Jesus. Wait, no, that's not the wrong one.
When the crowd gets busted, when the floor gets dusty, when your blade gets busted, Widdershins, Widdershins. When your broom smells funny, when a hex takes your money, what's gonna save you, honey? Just Widdershins, Widdershins. All you witches and all your old magicians, it's time to start listening to Widdershins, Widdershins. Widdershins, 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 Widdershins.
Welcome to Widdershins. Stop doing that, you bastards. Widdershins, after a long hiatus, I don't even know when the last time we did a show, but we're broadcasting live on two Facebook pages, the Widdershins Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, and YouTube. Yeah, I see we've got a few people already in there. We missed you. We missed you all. They've been witchcrafttv.com. I forget what dot it is. Not com.
And we're making a couple of modifications.
Yeah.
It's going to be an hour now instead of 2 hours, and we're not going to do any musical breaks.
Yes.
So that's a little different format.
And we're video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an audio podcast this whole time. But we've come back to start our broadcast by doing the marathon of HexFest. It's almost June. That means we got 2 months before HexFest 2024 happens with this epic lineup. And we do this kind of thing before HexFest. We've done it before WitchCon. And we end up, making friends. I think, we did that kind of thing with Voodoo Samois before we ever knew it.
Yeah. And Ellie Barnes.
Ellie, yeah. And by the time we came here, they were already good friends of ours. So, we do this for you, but we also, we have our own personal.
We're doing it for ourselves.
For ourselves too, because it expands our network. But tonight,
it's community outreach.
Tonight we got Mimi Curry,
Mm-hmm.
and this is our first time using this format. So, all I got to do is click on invite. That's not hard.
And we're inside now because it's so hot.
Yeah, it's
really
pretty hot. So hopefully the air conditioner is not too loud, but it's just too hot to be outside. I already invited the guest. You bastard! Just hold on. I'm gonna
Bear with us.
Figure out how to bring Mimi in here. Add to stage. Okay. Stage stuff. And I think I see Mimi there. Hey, what's going on, neighbor?
Hey, Mimi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Hot over there across town, or where?
I guess on this side of the lake it is quite warm. So
No. We usually do the show outside, but for once it's cooler in the house than it is outside. So we're switching it up a little bit.
Wait, you're on the other side of the lake?
yeah, I know.
Oh, I know. Oh, that side of the lake. Yeah. I've always thought it was crazy that lake makes its own weather. You can see it they'll have rain there when nobody else has rain. They got tornadoes when nobody's got tornadoes. Water spouts when nobody's got water spouts.
And you're kind of by that castle, right?
Yeah, that is I can see that when I am off of the twin span because Irish Bayou starts right there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, how many HexFests is it for you? Have you ever done the math?
Let's see. This will be my third HexFest teaching. This will be my sixth HexFest in general.
How many years have you been in New Orleans?
I moved.
I'm counting Slidell.
I moved to New Orleans in 2018. So,
Oh,
I've been working at Hex. It has officially been 6 years now.
okay. So we're not too far behind you. We
Yeah.
moved here in January of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
We did HexFest 2019.
yeah, our
Yeah.
first one.
Yep. Oh, I need to switch over to comment. Oh, I did that. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing much comments, but I don't know if people are making. I mean, part of the reason that I had to hunt around for a streaming software was for that purpose. So I get the comments from all the different channels, but we've yet to see if this one actually works. If I'm going to keep paying them. So right now we're on StreamYard.com. It'll be archived on YouTube. It'll be archived on the Facebook pages. Um, and that's how we're doing things. So we were just looking at your thing,
The
Mm-hmm.
workshop.
your workshop, Mary.
Yes.
Very hidden in plain sight, or
Yeah.
did I miss a word?
Yeah.
Goddess, the goddess in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think this is the thing, as we know, people have to morph and change as times change because, back in pagandom days, people are like, I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. I guess I'll just do this under the guise of the church. So it's one of those things where Mary is a very good example of the divine feminine and can be related to a lot of other stories and different pantheons. And it's one of those things where it's like most people, I think, forget what she really represents. And they just automatically are like, it's just Christian bullshit. I'm going to write it off. And it's like, well, okay, you can do that. But it's a power source that I don't think a whole lot of people really tap into fully.
Do you work with her a lot personally?
Oh, yeah. Quite a bit. The version of her that I tend to work with the most is more of a Greek Orthodox version, which is Our Lady of Perpetual Help. So she can kind of be related to Our Lady of Prompt Succor, or any of the other Marys that are holding baby Jesus. So
Mhm.
I've often thought of that, and there's so many paganisms that survive by disguising themselves as Catholic,
Mhm.
and you look,
A lot of the
they're,
ATRs.
they're not talking about Jesus a whole lot, but they're talking about Mary and the saints and the angels a whole lot. Um, and it makes sense since they converted all those pagan gods into saints, but there used to be a Catholic church right around the corner from my house in Long Beach when I was first studying witchcraft. I brought her flowers all the time, man.
Mhm.
Just another version of the goddess. A persistent goddess. In a place where they tried to remove all the goddesses, you got Mary still there.
Yep.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
consider yourself a Catholic or a catho-pagan? What terminology would you use?
Esoteric Catholic, I think, is probably the best term for that because I kind of go more into the mysticism side of things versus where other people are, oh, well, this saint represents this and this and this, which is all fine and dandy. And I've done that before and I've been able to use it to my advantage. But, I look a lot at these different people that you would consider like devotees or have had some sort of miraculous mystical experience. So learning a lot from like Augustine and Teresa of Avila and all this stuff because they've done some very interesting things like fly and biolocate and have certain things happen to them. So, like, and y'all don't think that's witchcraft? Okay, that's fine.
Well, Marta reminded me of a story that I had really forgotten about until she told me. But um, it was about a week after what I call the first Inquisition, where I came home and um, my father was there. He didn't live there. I didn't see him too often, but he was there because my mom had found my witchcraft stuff, and so I had to stand there while they burned it and prayed over my burning books and shit. And a couple days later, it's like I'm literally like my mom didn't have a whole lot, and my dad didn't help out a whole lot, so I slept on the couch. It was a one-bedroom apartment. That was my room was the living room, and I woke up one morning and because I heard somebody muttering outside the window. I peeked out the window, and then my mom's out there, kneeling with Bible, muttering. And so I went outside, curious, and I'm standing there, I'm listening to her, and she's praying to this rose bush. And so I asked her, once she seemed like, it was a lull, I didn't interrupt her. I said, Mom, what are you doing? She said, well, I heard that if you say this prayer to Mary, to a rose bush, the rose bush will bloom. And I'm going, so let me see if I got this straight. You're praying to the female version of divinity to make a plant grow? I said, yeah, pretty much. I said, oh, okay, but you can go burn my shit. We don't get along. What I'm doing is a problem. Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom. We had a good laugh about that, 20 years later. But that fucking dead stick of a rose bush bloomed the next day. It didn't even have any leaves on it. It made no sense. It couldn't collect any sunlight. And it bloomed constantly. And it had different colored roses on the same damn bush. She just kept praying to that fucking rose bush and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
That's witchcraft.
That's witchcraft.
Witchcraft.
But I didn't burn her shit. I did steal I think it was a Kahul Gabron diary,
Mm-hmm.
and made it in my book of shadows. I burned off the gold leaf print off of it, off the spine, and put my own and silver on it. It was nice, black black leather cover. It's my book of shadows to this day. You've seen it, but that was Kahul Gabron diary that my mom had that she'd never used. It's like, oh well, you burned my shit.
So I was looking at your website, the Sea Witch Emporium.
Oh yeah.
When did you start making products?
I've been making products for a while. It's just I took a bit of a hiatus since COVID
Okay,
because
yeah.
a lot of the shops that I was um, you know, putting my products in, one, no longer are in New Orleans, and or two, I don't associate with those people anymore. So we are doing a bit of rebranding at the moment, where going through recipes and streamlining things and trying to get everything back in order. So
And what's the
Okay.
website?
it's theseawitchemporium.com.
Yeah, I think I saw a post from you on Facebook the other day. And you were talking about the Sea Witch Emporium and how you're so excited to be starting a job as a reader at Hex.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was it?
And I go, wait a minute, and then I realized it was a memory.
Yes, it was.
Just reposted. That was an old post.
Yep.
So you've been at Hex for 6 years, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So when can folk stroll by and get a reading? When do you tend to be there?
I tend to be there Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. I also do seances now as well, which is done in a spiritismo style. which is the same as Spiritism. It's just how they do it in Central and South America. They both have, have branches off of Allan Kardec that started all of that. So, it's just you have Protestant version versus Catholic version.
Mhm. So that's Hex New Orleans on Decatur.
Decatur. Yeah.
I don't know. What's the address?
1219 Decatur Street.
1219 Decatur Street here in beautiful
Mhm.
New Orleans.
So when did you discover that you were able to, do mediumship and interest in, mystical stuff, like ever since you were really little? Or did
Yeah.
it come later?
So, I get it honest on both sides of my family whenever it comes to the mystical mediumship, talking to dead people stuff. So I have an aunt who has what we call the gift, and she's been able to see dead people since she was little. And my mom was always interested in that type of stuff. And I think it started whenever I was very young. And my mom said I had an imaginary friend. She was blonde with curly hair, old fashioned dress, and she had a teddy bear with one eye. And my mom didn't really think a whole lot of it until like my friends started telling me things that I shouldn't know with being as little as I was. And then my sister ended up having the same imaginary friend, and we are 3 years apart. So yeah, it's kind of started then. But as far as like feeling things and seeing things and that sort of stuff, like I think a lot of my memories start probably like around 6 or 7, and I picked up a tarot deck whenever I was 13. And then I've just kind of been doing it ever since.
Do you have a particular deck that you like to work with more?
I tend to work a lot with the medieval Scapini deck, which I really like a lot. I love the artwork because I am an art nerd. And that's the one that I tend to use the most whenever I am at the shop. I have several other decks that I do own and or use, but that's probably the main one that I've been using lately.
That's an old deck.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
just
like that.
funny
Yeah,
enough, I have it right now.
I think Waite was studying the Scapini to make the Rider Waite. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the deck he used to get his ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because back in the day, whenever they started doing tarot, these were commissions that were done by very wealthy families. And, every artist had like a slightly different style of how they would do it. And then it like transformed. And then, the French made their own deck, which is where you get the Marseille style. And then, it just kind of like branched off from there.
Yeah, it was all the rage on TikTok a year or so ago that doing tarot is culturally appropriating from the Romani, and that was theirs. And it's like it took a quick Google search. The first tarot deck was made for the Duke of Milan in like the 1400s or something like that. And it was a game.
Yep.
And then it became a divination thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Romani picked it up like everybody else did.
Yes, they did.
And a lot of people use regular playing cards.
Yeah, and the Romani did that too. They used playing cards.
Yeah, the playing card part, a lot of people did that as a get around because the Catholic Church was like, "Oh no, you're not supposed to use those. That's okay." And it's like, okay, well, we'll just use this regular deck of cards. It's like,
And they're cheaper and easier to get.
Yeah, they are cheaper.
Yeah. You get them like 50 cents a deck or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So your workshop is when?
think it's in the
It
morning.
better not be a, oh man, you morning people.
Not early,
Oh.
like 10:45
Oh, okay, that's
on
conceivable.
Saturday.
Mhm.
See, we're talking about HexFest, people. It's coming up the 9th to the 11th.
Yep.
August. You know,
Mhm.
if you ever wanted to come to New Orleans, here's your excuse. And I don't want to hear your bitching or wishing. Start witching. You got a couple months to pull that off.
Mhm.
Now, it's it'll be hot as fuck. Yeah, but every place is air conditioned. Just don't stand out in the sun that long. You'll be fine. But HexFest is an epic bunch of presenters in a town full of witches. We're like 3 times more full of witches on HexFest. Starts with a riverboat tour and a ritual and this meal that has pretty much every New Orleans thing you could possibly conceive of wanting to eat, except for crawfish because it's not crawfish season. It is epic. And I think the first time we did it was like a full moon or something. It's like first time we'd been on the Mississippi cruising around. It was like at least
I think
a
it was,
pretty big moon.
Yeah.
It was. It's an epic start to the thing.
Mhm.
There's no festival like it. Most festivals have, this ain't on Mimi or anybody else. I am gonna say this. Most festivals have shitty presenters because they don't pay. Um, HexFest and all the festivals by Kristen Day and Brian Kane um, pay their presenters and as such get a better quality of presenters. At the very least, that their travel and lodging is paid for when they come here to New Orleans, and that's what happened to us. We
Mhm.
came to New Orleans,
And it sucked us in.
sucked us in, and within a less
Six
than a
months,
year,
6 months later, we were
we're
here.
pulling up out front. Lynette Little on YouTube. You should, do it. Start witching. You can go. Get over there to
Yeah.
hexfest.com.
My-
Look at the epic presenters. You can see the cost and all of that.
I was gonna say my only complaint about that riverboat on Friday night
Uh-huh.
is that it's too short.
Yeah.
It's like you're just getting into it and then it stops.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a few hours, but it just seems like it's really short. It's like, really intimate and everybody's there and you're all eating together and it's beautiful and it's great.
I usually
wish
meet
it
all
lasted
kind of
a
people
lot
from
longer.
the internet,
Yeah.
TikTok, Facebook people.
Mhm.
Last year, we were bombarded with TikTok people. They were all at our table.
Yep.
So yeah, Lynette, you should come. Figure it out. Get over there to hexfest.com. Check it out. You're gonna want to do it. Just epic presenters, and we make new friends every time. And then when we do this kind of thing, interview people. Sometimes it's the first time we meet people, and we're friends.
Not Mimi though. We already
It's a long way from Scotland. Be there one year. Well, I don't, who knows how many years they're gonna keep having me there, and Mimi.
Mhm.
Figure it out. It's not that far from Scotland. Just across the Atlantic a little bit. It's not that hard. It's just right over there. You're down in the Gulf. You can do it. You can witch this, Lynette. I'm telling you. You want to come.
So Mimi, I accidentally skipped forward and forgot to ask you where you're from and what got you interested and like if your childhood had anything to do with it. It sounds like your mom is really open to this kind of stuff and your aunt.
Mhm.
So where did you start?
So, I am originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which is not, it's like basically the foothills of the mountains, right? So it's kind of like where the mountains are getting ready to start. And, even though I grew up in a very Southern Baptist household because of my dad's parents, there was a lot of emphasis on my ancestry and where I came from, and my grandparents did a lot of the like old timey Appalachian stuff, right? So it's like, oh yeah, I go to church every Sunday, but it's like, yeah, but you've got the horseshoe that's made of war, and you save, these stakes to put at the corners of the property, and they're like telling me ghost stories and all this stuff. So it's just kind of was something that was embedded and part of my everyday life. And, what really kind of did it for me was because of where I grew up, and I started seeing things and hearing things. And, it's really interesting whenever you're, a teenager and you're coming home from hanging out at your friend's house, and you go look over to the side of the woods and there's this like Civil War dude that's just hanging out. It's like, sup. So it just was one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, that's Fred. It's fine. He's here all the time. I'm like, okay. It's so funny because I talk to other people and they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. We've never experienced any of that. Okay, I came from the weird family. It's fine. But it's just kind of one of those things where it just was always around me and always there. And whenever I started exploring and doing my own research and reading and whatnot, I was grabbing books from the library and going to Borders when that still existed, and like reading all the witchcraft books in that section. So that's kind of really where it started. But it took a while. It took a while for my family, I think, to like fully accept me for who I was. My mom was very concerned for my well-being for a while. So, but we're good now.
Yeah, it's amazing how that happens. I remember later in life, my mom calling me up to have me pull a couple tarot cards to see if there was a ghost in her house. I go, oh man, we come a long way.
Yeah. I went to a Catholic all-girls school for 7th through 12th grade, and I had really Catholic religious classmates who contacted me like 10, 20 years later, or 10 years later, like they wanted help, like conceiving, they wanted just witchcraft help. And I'm like, really?
Oh, fertility
Really?
stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
that's us. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of former classmates who were, hardcore practicing Catholics came to me for certain advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I always told them, I said, you need to spend time with your God that you believe in. Go to your church. I'm not going to do any of my shit for you. Like, do your thing.
Yeah.
And that was always what I said to them.
Well, I remember, I got to tell this story. It was an all-girls Catholic school, and she still gets newsletters from it. And it's like a newspaper. And
I think Mimi heard this story.
I pull it out, and it's got a picture of these Catholic schoolgirls in their uniforms dancing around a maypole. And to us as pagans, maypole represents God's penis. And so the imagery never wasn't lost on me. and, and this was apparently for Mary's Day, which you can't find practiced, that way on May 1st anywhere else. But it's a celebration of women. And so I don't know, it's like Catholics celebrating women. Well, cool. It's about fucking time. But I guess you have to in an all-girls Catholic school. But,
Well, and if you're celebrating Mary,
yeah.
celebrating women.
Yeah. Well, somehow they revere Mary without celebrating.
And we didn't
so much
do that.
Catholicism.
We didn't do that when I was a student there.
Yeah, I don't
So
want to hear that. I'm
wasn't
picturing
even
you
aware.
dancing around God's penis.
No, I wasn't
uniform.
even aware.
I don't want to hear it. Back to me.
Yeah.
What you drinking?
I have a mocktail at the moment. So it is grapefruit juice, tart cherry juice, and some soda water.
Oh,
See, don't sound bad.
yeah. Tart cherry juice is good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, if it was a little later in the evening, I would probably add either some rum or some gin to this. But it's close
Yeah.
to. I
It's
gotta.
it's almost happy hour somewhere.
Yes, almost.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. Let's see, what was I going to ask?
He's thinking.
Okay, so we talked a bit about the workshop. Do you ever, you don't have any books or anything, right?
No, but I am in the process of doing research to write my own book. So,
Cool.
Nice.
yeah. So, um,
Can you give us any kind of hint about like the topic?
um,
Something witchy.
it,
Probably.
it is something witchy and using, what you call mysticism and the mystics and creating ritual around that. So I think it's something where there's a lot of teachings and a lot of things that people kind of gloss over. And it's like, okay, how can I make it to where this is digestible for somebody who's like wanting to do, like, let's say, kind of get into trance work or try and, do some shadow work of some kind to kind of move through certain things. So that's kind of where we're at with it. So we're in the research process at the moment.
Right on.
Yeah. Hard to pin down a category to fit that into.
Yeah, it's something.
Mysticism.
Mhm.
Yeah, mysticism's broad enough.
It is broad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a mysticism in just about every single religion on earth. You have Kabbalah for Judaism. Zoroastrianism has a lot of it, especially with a lot of the poets that they reference from. You can find stuff from the ancient Greek philosophers and all kinds of stuff. So it's we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep having a question that I forget what I was gonna freaking ask. Yeah, I think.
Not right now.
Damn, you're not gonna save me.
Nope.
Oh, that's what it was. Your website again.
Mm-hmm.
What's your website?
The website is theseawitchemporium.com.
So it's with the word the you use it in the website?
Yes.
Okay.
So what are you doing over there? You making stuff? What?
I'm only allowed to do so much with where I work currently. So I
Okay.
offer other services, with my website, such as, you know, cleansings and, blessings of homes. I do a lot of stuff with, coaching of people, especially if they're wanting to learn about like witchcraft and trying to get started with everything. I do a lot of consultation work for like spell work and that sort of thing. So there's that. But I do make products. Right now, everything is like, you know, custom ordered or like made for specific situations. But we're revamping the products lines that I had before. And we will be hopefully up to date and up and running with all of that by the end of this year.
All right. So a lot of services and a
Yeah.
bit of product.
Yeah.
I'm very cool, very cool.
And a book coming up at some point.
Book coming up at some point.
That'll happen when it happens.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going to critique the crap out of this. So could be a couple of years before that gets here, but who knows?
Mhm.
Are there any other goddesses you associate with Mary?
Urzuli Dantor which is not really a goddess. She is a Loa, but that is the image that is used a lot for her in Haitian voodoo. And, uh, you know, it's interesting because I remember when I first saw this image, I was at a Mexican market in my hometown and I decided to go down the cleaning aisle. And there she was in the midst of all of the candles. And I saw her once, grabbed the candle. I went back, a few weeks later and they didn't have any more, and I hadn't seen any of that particular image since. And she basically was like, "Nope, you need me."
Wow.
Hmm.
Nice.
So yeah, but she's been very prevalent, especially since I've moved here to New Orleans, which makes a lot of sense to me because voodoo and ATR and all that stuff is like just in the blood here in New
Hmm. Well, I always had heard hoodoo as a Baptist experience. And then you come to New Orleans, it's Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird. It changes a lot of things in it,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes cat Catholo Baptist. That's a word.
Yeah,
Baptist Catholicism.
yeah. And I could say this as somebody who is from the Carolinas, and there's barely any Catholic churches there.
Oh,
People,
really?
yeah, people are doing like root work and stuff like that. Like
Mm.
the main images that you get and is like, you got Jesus, the apostles, any of the angels, and like God himself, right? And Mary, of course. But like the way that it's approached is very different versus like, places where there is such a great Catholic influence. So, and I think a lot of people, try to get back in touch with their roots and do those types of things. So it can become a very interesting mix depending on who you talk to.
Are there any other deities that you personally work with
Uh,
besides Christian ones?
um, there are a few. I do not I don't really talk about them that much just because that's something that's a little bit more private for me. But
Yes.
I do have a few of them that I do work with. But that's just more of like a personal level. I'm gonna come talk to you whenever I need to come talk to you.
Right on. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You work with angels, saints, anything else?
Yes, I do use a lot of saints. I do work quite a bit with angels. Me and Saint Michael are tight, which, is kind of my namesake being, Michelle originally. So, he's around quite a bit. But yeah, as far as like saints and that sort of thing, Saint Defina, Saint Barbara is one that I do petition quite a bit. I've been working a lot with, Saint Martha as well. So yeah,
Martha or Marta?
Well,
Are those
well,
two different ones? Or are
Spanish,
those the same thing?
yeah, in Spanish
yeah.
uh, uh, Santa Marta. So she is the dragon slayer.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Mhm.
or Marta Domonera is the other version of her.
Yeah, that's who we got.
Yeah.
I went when Julio Samois's shop was closing down and bought that off this altar
Mhm.
for Marta.
Perfect.
So, I'm just thinking of Catholic stuff. So, use holy water?
I do use holy water, and it's one of those things where, it's appropriate for what it's used for. It goes in quite a bit of my baths, or like, if I'm working with my bovida and that sort of thing, I do use it, but I use other stuff too, such as like, siete machos, and different types of colognes and those sorts of things as well, because they all serve a purpose.
Do you sprinkle your holy water with a plant?
I do. It kind of depends on what I'm doing. So if I'm doing a lot of cleansing and stuff, I tend to use things like hyssop, rue, different types of herbs depending on what it is that I'm doing. But if I'm just doing it for myself, it's just like pour it in the hand and be like, okay, but that sort of thing. So,
As I found, hyssop, rue, and rosemary are the three mainstays for the Catholic Church to be sprinkling their holy water. It just depends on where in the world you are and how prominent that plant is. And
mhm,
even hyssop doesn't even come up that much, but it is actually in the Bible.
mhm.
Um, it was hyssop wrapped around some other thing. It was a very complicated um, sprinkling device. I don't even know what you call a sprinkling device. So
A spurger?
a spurger. Actually, I think they actually did use that language in the Bible. Yeah. How about incense? What, frankincense and myrrh? What?
Oh
Where
yeah,
would you go to?
I have all the incense all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a resin, if it is an incense, if it is whatever, I have it going in my house at least at some point during the day, at one of the many altars that I have in my home. I also use a diffuser as well, which I found, for a lot of times I'm just like, I want to do a combination of things and I don't have an incense for it. So I'm just going to put all these oils in here and it'll disperse through the house.
Incense, oils, the Catholic stuff.
Mhm.
Catholic
Yeah,
equivalent.
I barely remember the Catholic stuff.
Well, yeah, they tried to make me Catholic too.
Mhm.
I don't think I made communion, catechism. Well, I don't know. My brother did all that shit, but I don't remember. I don't even remember what they were called because I didn't do them. Um, or-
Catechism? I don't even
is
know
it
what
catechism? I think,
I don't-
yeah, I think my brother did something like that. Hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're not, so you're one of the few people you know around here that's not an Alexandrian, huh? Or are you? Yeah,
No,
you should have one of those onks.
yeah, no, I do not participate in the British witchcraft community. I know several people that are in it, but I do not really. It's just, it's not really my thing,
Mhm.
and for different folks.
I never, until I moved here, I never knew an Alexandrian. I knew plenty of Gardnerians.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And other offspring, but I never ran across an Alexandrian. And here it's a big thing.
Yes. In my hometown, we had a pagan meetup group that I knew several people in, and a lot of them were more in the trad witch variety versus the like British witchcraft type of community. So that was kind of more of my thing, and I didn't really know all of that stuff and what it was until like I really moved here. So, and then I was like, oh, you've got the Cabots and you've got the Alexandrians, you've got the Gardnerians, you've got all these different things.
Yeah, actually, I never met a Cabot until I moved here too.
Yep.
Yeah, but I always knew of her. Growing up, I knew who Lori Cabot was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black clothes, black eye makeup, official witch of Salem on all the TV shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got any more questions?
No.
Got anything you want to say before we go? Is your mouth moving and I can't hear you? Did you mute your mic? Something happened.
Yeah, something's happening.
Because you kind of went black and now I can't hear you.
It's just looking.
You went black and never came back. No, I see you, but I can't hear you. I mean, not anything on my end, is it? No, you're not muted over here. Edit mic settings. Oh, unmute. Oh, there. Okay, how about that? Say something. Oh, I'm going to hit it again. Say it again. What the hell happened? Oh my God. Okay, mute is not on.
Edit mic settings.
Edit mic settings. Echo cancellation, reduce background noise. Well, that's interesting to know that I can do all that, but that's not helpful at all. Still not muted on my side. What happens if you click on your picture? Do you have any mic settings that you can manipulate? Because something happened on your end.
How did that happen? I have no
I don't know.
idea.
She went black, and then her face came back, and then I noticed she was talking, but I couldn't hear her. We got nothing.
Her lips are moving.
Her lips are moving. Well, it's a learning curve. This is our first time using this format, but hopefully we'll figure out what the hell happened.
Yeah, we're just trying to work all the kinks out, you guys. Thank
Well,
you for your patience.
Yeah, Lynette can't hear Mimi either. All right. Well, thanks for coming. Hopefully, we'll see you before HexFest.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
definitely
sure.
see you before then.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on, Mimi.
Okay.
Blessed
Well,
be.
bye.
Okay, remove the stage. Oh, remove the stage work. Well, thank you for coming to Widdershins. Our first broadcast in months and months. I don't even know when the last time.
We're kind of rusty.
We're kind of rusty. It's entirely new formats. We didn't used to have to get pretty before we went on because it was an audio podcast. But now we're on video.
Well, I still didn't try that hard.
Oh, you never
Obviously.
tried that hard, baby. Thanks for joining us. We don't have a set broadcast time or date or day at this time because we're in the beginning throes of the
And
HexFest marathon.
you know, even length. I say
Yeah.
we just do the interview for as long as it lasts.
Yeah, it's like
whether
almost an hour.
Yeah, but whether it's like 2 hours or sometimes it might be half an hour.
Yeah.
I don't want to put any,
Yeah.
restraints
But
on it.
wherever you are, there's a follow button, an alert button, like on YouTube. There's a little bell thing. You can get the alerts so you know when we go live because we don't even know when we're going live. We're calling these people and hooking them up one by one. I really only have 2 people I'm talking to right now, and then I'm going to go to the next 2. But we are going to try and interview every HexFest presenter humanly possible. Anybody we can get. So we might pop on a couple times a day. We might maybe once a day, maybe every other day. You never know, but you gotta follow. Follow. Alert. So you'll know. Follow us on Facebook. You can follow, I don't know where you are now, Michael Carell. You can also follow us at Widdershins, right over here. It's mirrored. I didn't even notice we were mirrored. Widdershins, the Facebook page, and Uncle Birch on YouTube. So follow us, hit the alert, like it, leave a comment. It helps the algorithm. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. People tell me I sound like Elvis.
I look like Elvis.